Good morning. I would like to remind everyone to please make sure that all cell phones are turned to the off or vibrate position. Also, please be advised our city council meetings are broadcast on Comcast Channel 99, AT&T Uverse, and the City of Gadsden YouTube channel. The meeting of the Gadsden City Council will now come to order. The chair calls on City Clerk Ivan Nelson for the roll call.
Councilwoman Toles.
Here.
Councilman Williams, I know is in the building. I don't think he's in the room right now. Councilman Worthy.
Here.
Back.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Cannon.
Here.
Councilman Reed is absent today. We do have a quorum present and the meeting's open for business. I'm going to ask Heath Williamson to lead the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many blessings that you give us freely, Father. Just thank you most of all that we can know you and know you personally, Father. Rely on you always, for you are sovereign in all things, Father. We lift you up, lift up this city, this council, mayor and his administration, Father. Help us to go through the business today in a way that pleases you, always in accordance with your will. We give you thanks for all that you've done and promised to do. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we'll have an update from EMA.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So some of the numbers for today, and these, of course, are updated at 10 a.m. every day. So the total number of cases, 13,435. The total number of deaths as of today, 327. And the positivity rate for the last 14 days, that's 8.3. Our school cases, and this includes all three of our school systems, we've got 6 total cases. And then a little update on some of the vaccinations. We should receive the Johnson & Johnson vaccination within the next 7 to 10 days is what we're being told. We're also working with Quality of Life on setting up possible mobile vaccination sites in different places that don't readily have transportation and that kind of thing, or neighborhoods where that's not readily available. So that would be with the city's mobile COVID trailer that was recently purchased. Ambulance transports and hospital stays right now are still on a downward swing, so that's good. And want to share, for anyone who's lost a loved one due to COVID-19, FEMA is offering reimbursement for the cost of funerals. So for that information, if you can visit disasterassistance.gov, or I'm going to give you the phone number that you can call, and that's 1-800-621-3362. Does anyone have any questions?
You mentioned a trailer that the city purchased. Is that what you said? Did I hear that right?
Well, it's with some of the funding that was available, but it's the COVID mobile unit. Okay. So we foresaw that as an opportunity to use for reaching some areas who aren't getting those vaccinations right now, to try to go out into the community and provide those services.
Wonderful, thank you.
I was going to ask about will this county and city participate in what FEMA is doing as far as getting the vaccine out?
Well, as far as what specifically?
That was information that I heard yesterday at a conference from Dr. Fossey spoke, that FEMA was working with states and cities about getting the vaccine, I guess more vaccine out into different areas.
Right,
also.
right. And we will follow whatever guidance they give to us. I think they're looking at a couple of different options on where to which areas are needing, vaccination right now. So we will follow any guidance that they provide us. Yes, ma'am.
I know you said you're working with Quality Life, so that's great to get it into different communities. But right now, Quality Life is giving the vaccination shot. So you can call 256-439-6404 or 256-439-6405 to schedule your shots. And they will be at Roberta Watts on March the 13th, which is Saturday, and that's at 1020 Tuscaloosa Avenue from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. giving out the shot. So if you want a shot, you can get it. Just call those numbers and make an appointment. And please, if you make an appointment, show up. If you can't show up, call and let them know so they can schedule somebody else. Because if you make the appointment and don't show up, then that's taking a spot away from somebody else that would like to get the shot.
I forgot
Thank you.
to ask you, is there an age limit now?
I believe the vaccinations are approved for 18 and older, if I'm not mistaken. That information can be found on the CDC website, specific to vaccinations. I also want to say, keep in mind some of those pharmacies, local pharmacies who have vaccinations. Even though they went through a little spell where they didn't have any, I believe we will start seeing an uptick in the vaccinations that they receive. And also visit Walmart.com and Sam's Club because they've taken part in vaccinations as well. So look to see some of those vaccination slots to open up.
Couple of things, just to clarify. When she mentioned the age limit, I think you were maybe talking about the overall guidelines for the vaccination.
Right.
Are those still under the 65 or older, or if you are at a high risk, or do we still have those restrictions on who can actually call to schedule to receive a shot?
Right, and
Yeah.
some of the different locations are different,
Okay.
but I believe Quality of Life was focusing on the older age group,
Yeah.
but like I said, it varies from
Okay.
each
And one
place.
other thing, I'd forwarded you guys an article after our conversation last week about specifically, I understand deploying the COVID unit into the communities, but specifically addressing individuals that are homebound or cannot leave their home specifically. I'd forwarded along an article about, I think the city of Corpus Christi had entered into a partnership with Meals on Wheels and the local fire department to try to administer shots to those individuals who were homebound. Do you know if there's been any progress on that, or if there's any roadblocks we could help overcome with that?
I know that we've been looking into that
Okay.
and kind of looking at different
Well,
options.
please let me know if there's anything I can do to help
Absolutely.
bring that to fruition, because I know that there are
Right.
many of those in our community who literally can't leave their home for one reason or another. So,
Right.
Do you know if they allowed the National Guard to come in and help with the shots yet?
I'm not
give 'em
sure.
out?
I'm not sure. I can get that information for you and let you know for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. And tell Mr. Gaither, thank you also. We'll continue with our agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the work session and the city council's meeting that was held on March the 2nd.
second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to approve minutes.
The chair will entertain a motion to ratify payments of accounts for the week of February the 26th through March the 4th.
Second?
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to ratify payment of the accounts.
Do we have any proclamation? Unfinished business, we have none. This is the time and place as advertised to conduct a public hearing allowing anyone to speak in opposition to or in favor of a resolution or an abatement of nuisance on property at 2010 Broadway Street in District 5, State of Alabama, possible right of redemption to Denise Ballou, subject to a mortgage in favor of Associate Financial Services and JR Development being the last known owners. Is there anyone to speak in opposition to this resolution? Is there anyone speaking in favor?
Madam President, I'm Brian Harbison with the Building Department. This case involves a burned structure. We filed it in March of last year. There have been no improvements or no permits to improve. We're asking today for a resolution to abate this nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to abate.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay. Our next public hearing is a resolution on abatement of nuisance regarding a mobile home property located at 1621 Roosevelt Avenue in District 5. Dan and Deborah Duckett being the last known owners. Is there anyone to speak in opposition to this resolution? If you'll come to the podium, please, and give your name and address.
I'm Dan Duckett, concerning 1621 Roosevelt Avenue mobile home. The work will be finished today sometime. I've asked for final inspection tomorrow evening.
Okay, all right.
It'll be light and evening, man.
Mr. Duggett, just real quick, a couple questions. How long you been working on this property?
Couple weeks or a month.
I think the case has been going against this property a little bit longer than that, hasn't it?
I'm sorry.
The case has been pending against this property for a little longer than that, hasn't it?
Yes, sir, it has.
How long has that case been pending?
I don't know, brother. It's been
I'm not
condemned.
brother, it's councilman.
It's condemned for a while.
It's not brother.
Okay,
Did
I'm
you
sorry.
hear me? Councilman, when you
Councilman.
address somebody on this body.
Councilman.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other comments? If not, is there anybody that's in favor?
You can have a seat.
You can have a seat, sir.
Madam President, this case involves a mobile home. We filed the process in July of 2020. Been no improvements. There was a permit taken out in September of 2020. We've been out to this location no less than 4 times in the last 30 days. Multiple times, no one was there, or either none of the work had been done that we were told about. So I don't put a lot of stock in what was said here today. We're asking for a resolution to abate the nuisance. Thank you.
Mr. Harbison, he made the statement that somebody was coming out there to inspect today. Who would be the one that would go out and inspect?
That would be me. That hasn't been scheduled.
Madam President.
All right. If you give your name and address, please.
Madam President and council members, my name is Gracie Green. I live at 1706 McDowell Street, 2 streets over from this trailer. This trailer was put in probably early 60s, 70s. It's been there ever since. There's nothing never been done to the trailer except one time before. It has been condemned before, and it's a nuisance. We have garbage. I have pictures here showing the garbage at the front of the house all the time. It's every week that it's stacked up there. The occupant that lives there now, she goes to the city dump. She goes to every dumpster in the city of Gadsden, and she gets the stuff out and brings it home. What she can salvage, she salvages. The rest of it she piles up for rats and bugs and you name it coming in from all over everywhere. Then she burns what's left. We have to call the fire department several times a week, several times a month, and it's awful, the smell that we get, because it's burning clothes, burning mattresses, burning. How she gets mattresses there, we do not know, but she brings old mattresses, piles them up and burns them then. But we have to live with this every day. And I mean, it's not just in one place, it's all over South Gadsden that we get this smell and we get this burning and everything. And we have an awful time trying to keep, everything down and keep the smoke from coming through your vents and smothering you to death. So we would appreciate it if y'all would just get away with this trailer, because it really does need to be moved out. She has no water in the bathroom. She has to go to a neighbor's house or somebody else's house to have a bath because they have no water in it. In the bathtub and things. But anyway, we would appreciate it if it was abated. Thank you.
Ms. Green.
What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to abate.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our final public hearing is a resolution on abatement of nuisance on property at 2905 Tallahassee Street in District 6. This is James Penley and Buddy Evans being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor, in opposition to this resolution?
That don't make no sense.
I almost can't wait to ask Mr. Harbison, what kind of bill, Mr. Harbison, what kind of building is that?
That is formerly known as a mobile home. We filed this case a year ago in March. The owner has taken out a demolition permit. They are attempting to remove this, obviously piece by piece. And I told him we would honor his existing demolition permit, which expires April 1. But I did tell him that I would ask the council for a resolution today. This case has been filed for a year, so we're asking for a resolution. Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
For discussion on this, I talked with Mr. Harbison. It's probably been running over a year, but the owner, like Mr. Harbison said, is going to take care of this before this month's out, hopefully.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
We have a resolution authorizing agreement with Cellco Partnership doing business as Verizon Wireless. And this is for all wireless cellular data and related city cell phone services, and the amount is $129,124. And the chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
New business, we have none. Department reports, committee reports. I believe Mrs. Katrina is here from the Career Center. Would you come and give us a report concerning the job fair that's going to be taking place? If I put you on the spot, it was, you can just move right on down to Councilman Word. He's the one who requested that you.
Okay. Mayor, Madam President, Council, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to talk about the job fair that we're putting on this Thursday, March 11, 2021, at the venue at the Coosa Landing. And it's gonna start at 9 o'clock and end at 1 p.m. Right now, we have 50 employers that are already registered, and hundreds of jobs, probably 1,000 by now, if I'm not mistaken. And 150 lunch bags will be given to job seekers. The first 150 will receive a bag. Employers will receive lunch, and gosh, we just want you guys to, everybody to come on out. If you know a friend that needs a job, please come out. If there's a person that's underemployed, please come out, because we have a lot of jobs out there. What else? Is there anything else, Sheila? Employers can register at alabamaworks.alabama.gov, and so can job seekers. They can register. It's alabamaworks.alabama.gov. If you need some more information, you can always call the Career Center at 256-546-4667, and you can ask to speak to anyone. Everyone at the Career Center knows that we're having that job fair, but the person I brought with me today, Ms. Sheila Hand, she's the one that's coordinating that job fair, and she's doing a wonderful job at that.
You tell her to come on, go on up there and speak also. Come on. Leave your boss hanging. Go on up there.
Ms. Harry, while
Put people on the spot,
That's okay.
Ms. Harry, while she's walking up, so we understand that there'll be an in-person component. Will there be any virtual components to this job fair?
No, there will not be. It's all in person. And of course, we will follow protocol, social distancing, and we'll only allow so many job seekers in the building at one time. And we'll have some hand sanitizer, and everyone must be 6 feet apart, and we'll have someone to control the crowd. You know, I'm looking for a crowd, so we'll have someone to control the crowd outside as well.
And if they don't have a mask, we will give them one.
Right.
I have 150 in the car that I obtained from EMA. So we will be giving those masks out if you come in, because we want you to wear a mask.
Right. Well, as a matter of fact, they will not be able to enter the job fair without a mask.
And I tell them about we will have the bay doors open. So if it's cool, a little cool tomorrow, wear something warm, because we want fresh air coming in.
Right, but we do want all job seekers to come through the front door.
Right.
No one can sneak through those bay doors.
We'll have barricades set up for them.
Right, that way we'll be able to get a true number, of job seekers that attend. Job seekers can come to the Career Center and get an updated resume as well before you come to the job fair. So if you don't have an updated resume, please go by the Career Center and get your updated resume.
Yeah, we're excited to be there. This will be my first big job fair with the Career Center, as I've only been here a year, a little over a year. But we did, the last big job fair we did was the Goodyear job fair back last March. But this one is going to be a little different, because we're going to open it to the entire public. There's many manufacturing companies going to be there promoting their employment opportunities. There'll be healthcare opportunities there. There's going to be opportunities in the hospitality and restaurant arena. There's just going to be a lot of good, also the corrections, Department of Corrections and things like that. So there's a lot of opportunity for all different types of jobs. Anything from an administrative position all the way up to, higher. I mean, the college even has a job order in the system for, these specialists that you have to have these bachelor's and master's degrees for. So there's jobs for everyday people as well as for the really skilled and really highly educated, and we just want to promote that and let everyone have a good opportunity to come out and visit the employers who support our community, and to also have the job seekers participate and enhance their lives. It's not going to be very long before I believe the funding is going to run out for these different programs with the pandemic, and as it's being overcome, then naturally those will get less and less, and hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more job seekers out there than what we're seeing now.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you all so much.
Is there any other department reports, boards? At this time, we'll have comment, remarks by the council. Councilman Cannon.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd just like to say I've been just strolling here down the Facebook since we've been on here live. And, you know, some people were saying how sad it was that we've condemned this trailer and condemned these pieces of property. It might be sad to you, but, you know, people's had a long time to work on these pieces of property. You've got at least, this one gentleman had at least 6 months to work on it, and nothing's occurred. It don't seem like. Mr. Harbison said it wasn't up to code. I've had 3 or 4 houses in District 6 people went into that was condemned. They overdosed and died. I've had some in District 6 where they went in there and they didn't have no place. They was on drugs. Went into an old abandoned house and took some wood off and burned it in the floors and set the house on fire, and they died. Or if they didn't die from that, they ran out of there and had to go to the hospital because of the smoke. You know, everybody just don't want to live by an old piece of property that's run down. Donors don't want to take care of it. We've got so much stuff in this city where you can go and try to get help for houses. We got community development. They've got a paint program going on there where they'll furnish like $600 worth of paint in the brushes to paint your house. There's up there with community development. If you qualify, I forgot the qualifications, but if you qualify, they'll come out there and work on your house for you. Sometimes it don't cost you, and sometimes if they do a great deal of work on it, I think it's up to $7,500. They give you 5 years. If you live in that house, you don't even have to pay that back. If you died within that 5 years, if your family member moves in that house, they don't have to pay. But like say you borrowed, they did just say $10,000, you live there for 3 years, you wouldn't owe but $2,000-3,000 is all you would owe. But we've got all kind of programs here in this city. Anybody can go out there and keep your yard clean. It don't cost something to clean your yard, pick up around your yard, get an old car out of there, anything like that. You know, we just need to start taking pride in our city. Everybody wants something, you know, in this city, and we need to take pride in everything we do here. We don't need to let these houses run down. People get on to us because we push these houses down. Well, how would you like to live next door to a house or a trailer that's falling down, bugs just coming out of it, people's living in it? Nobody wants that. So we have every opportunity in this city to get your house fixed. Call community development, reach out there and ask some of your neighbors if they'll help you do some stuff. We've got all kind of people that would help people in this city. But, you know, you don't see what we see, how they look, unless you live around these places. So that's what we have to go by, what Mr. Harbison says in his pictures, what we looks like. I wish, like everybody said, we had a screen to put all these up. Every time one comes up, we had a way of putting it up, and you could see what we was voting on. That's all I have.
Okay, Councilman Wilson.
Yeah, I'm going to take my mask off for this, but specifically about abatements, I understand the perception, but there's something that I think everybody in this community needs to understand. We do not kick people out of their houses and then tear the houses down, okay? Every time you see one of these conversations happening up here, it's over an abandoned property. No one lives in it, all right? And in many cases, the owners of that property don't even live in our community. They don't even live in this town. They don't even live in this county in a lot of instances. They do not care about these properties. The only people who suffer from these situations are the residents who live all around this. You just saw Miss Gracie Green, who's lived in that neighborhood for decades, talk about rodent infestations in their homes because these giant piles of garbage, talking about them burning open chemicals, mattresses, everything in the backyard. I challenge a lot of you guys who are saying that about, you know, the sensitivity or the humanity of what we're doing when we abate a house. What would you do if you were living next door to a situation like that? We have laws on the books. Again, we have laws in this city that require you to care for private property. It is your property. It is your responsibility to care for it. And if you don't, there are mechanisms in the law that the city can fine you. But again, rest assured, this particular situation was over a single wide trailer that was built in the 1960s, okay, that's been sitting there in many cases without running water, without electricity, certainly no homeowner's insurance in the case that it burns to the ground or catches the neighbor's house on fire. We had an issue like that just 2 months ago downtown where a house caught on fire. Presumably there was somebody inside this abandoned property that wasn't supposed to be there, and it burnt an accounting business right next door to it, a CPA business, and they're still not back in their home, in their building yet, in their business yet. So I just ask that all y'all keep in mind when you look at these situations, we are not taking people and kicking them out of their houses. These are abandoned homes where people have had time and time and time again. And I'm telling you, from the 2 years experience I've had on this council, I've probably given people more time to address these abatement issues 50 times in the last little over 2 years. I can think of 1 out of 50 where they actually ended up doing what they said they were going to do and fixing the property. The other 49 times, it's right back up here. And y'all can't see this. I wish you could. But all these things, I can't show them to you because apparently there's some legal question about, whether I can present evidence to the public here. But I've got piles of pictures, and I'm telling you guys, if y'all saw these, one of them's a single wide trailer that has, you can see right through the whole thing. It's nothing but wood studs sitting on cinder blocks. So, I mean, the other one that we abated today was literally a burnt house. It was burnt to the ground, and the owners just simply abandoned it and left it there for somebody else to deal with. And so now the city has to go out there, your taxpayers have to go out there and clean this mess up in our neighborhoods. Somebody had emailed me about what my initiatives are for my district and what my plans were for my district. Well, this is a big part of it. I'm sick of seeing these rundown mobile homes all over our communities that do nothing but drive down the property values of everybody around them, and then it makes people pack up and move out of those neighborhoods, which drives down the property values even more. It's a never-ending economic cycle that I am determined to break. And I'm telling you that you just have to trust that I'm not up here just willy-nilly wielding my power as a city councilman to decide who gets to live in their house and who don't. This is the end of the road for most of these situations. And again, in some cases, they've been going on for 10 years, and now we're finally to here. So please, you guys keep that in mind. Speaking of my district, I want to give everybody an update. Obviously, COVID has slowed a lot of what the city had planned to do in 2021, but those projects are still on track. We just got set back a little bit. One of those major projects that's been an initiative of mine since the day I got elected is the repaving of South 11th Street. That funding has already been approved. It's in our budget. You'll notice that the Alabama Department of Transportation redid the intersection there, Black Creek Parkway and South 11th Street in front of the high school. Now that's complete. The next phase will be for us to not only pave, but add a sidewalk from Gadsden City High School all the way back up the hill there past the bird sanctuary into the downtown area. So that is a much needed improvement that is still in the works. One of the realities of the red tape of government, municipal government, is we have to acquire property from a few private landowners in order to add that improvement and add that sidewalk. Right now we have gotten agreements with most of the property owners there along South 11th Street. If I'm not mistaken, I believe there's still a few holdouts over there. And that happens a lot of times. Some people think their property maybe is worth more than the state does, and they go back and forth. But all of those things are things that are out of our control. We're continuing to push forward. As soon as we get those 3 or 4 property acquired, pieces of property acquired, the right-of-way there, we'll move forward with paving that. That'll be a much-needed thing. And for all of y'all that haven't noticed, this corridor, this investment that the city has made in South 11th Street that goes all the way. Black Creek Parkway has been paved all the way across Steel Station Road, 4-laned, all the way out to Highway 77. This has become more and more of a thoroughfare in and out of our city, and the city is actively trying to invest to make that better. So that's one of the good things. Another good thing is over on the end of South 11th Street there around Banks Park, just between the line between myself and Councilman Cannon's district, we're building a new fire hall. That's something that's been needed for a long time in that community, and I'm excited that that funding has been put in place and we're moving forward with that. So that'll be a great addition. Also, we've been working for about the past year. I work on a 5-year initiative with the Chamber of Commerce to try to develop a small business incubator. We've looked at several pieces of property to try to build this so that we can get young, aspiring business owners and young fledgling startup businesses into a space where they can pay a little lower rent and they can be surrounded by lawyers, and CPAs, people you need when you're a young business owner to help you get your business off the ground and get it going. So we've been working on that for about 2 years. That's a huge project, but we hope to bring it to fruition at some point over the next 2 years. I've also regularly worked with Tony Reddick and the Board of Education on a program to develop our campus there where Stripling and Gadsden Middle School is into a world-class academic campus that could house potentially multiple different schools or teaching programs. That's obviously a long-term vision, but we work on it all the time. Every chance we get, we talk about advancing that. So there's a lot of long-term stuff, and in the meantime, I'm just trying to pave roads and fix potholes and make sure your trash gets picked up on time or your leaves or your debris. I mean, that's what I'm here for. That's why I always say y'all have this, sometimes have a skewed perspective of local government versus state and federal government. Like, I don't have a staff. When you call me, it's my cell phone. When you text me, it's me that responds. I don't have assistants or anything like that. I don't have legislative assistants or interns. So if you have a problem, if there's a bunch of trash on your street, I give my cell phone number out regularly to the public, 256-399-3738. You can call me anytime, and I'll try to help you get it fixed. Now, a couple of other things that I'll touch on. The 759 extension, for those of y'all who didn't see the report earlier, well, actually at the end of last week, the Alabama Department of Transportation has approved $2 million for the 759 extension, and that's a huge deal for Gadsden, and it's something that this city's been fighting for over a decade. And I can just tell you, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that the project's going to come to fruition right away, but I can tell you that the Alabama Department of Transportation doesn't spend $2 million on engineering plans if they don't plan to move forward with it. So, y'all, that's a huge win, and I know it's overshadowed by a lot of the other things that are going on in our community right now, but that's something this town has been fighting for a long, long time, and it looks like we may be one step closer to actually making it happen. So that's a good thing, and thank you to the Office of the Mayor and everybody who's been involved in fighting for that. The last thing I'll say, just a general update from me on the rendering plant. I don't have any information to provide you guys. I still have not been presented with any sort of proposal of any kind. Of course, like all of you, I knew about the letter from the Waterworks and Sewer Board. I think that's, pretty self-explanatory. But from a councilman's perspective, I just want the people to know that look for me for information. I still don't have any formal proposal. I've not been presented with anything yet. So I'll wait until I do to say anything further on that. That's all I have, Madam President.
Councilman Batt.
Thank you, Madam President. Thanks, Councilman Wilson. Very well stated, as always. I'll add to Councilman Wilson's comment about South 11th Street that I learned from Heath Williamson, our city engineer. That South 11th Street project is a state and city collaboration. It's 80% state money, 20% city money, which Heath explained to me that means the state's actually driving that project. Of course, they're in close communication with our engineering department, with Heath Williamson. I know it's taken maybe longer than we all wanted it to, but part of that's because maybe the state has other projects and they're doing other things, but it's good to get that 80-20 mix, because that means our money goes further in additional paving, and it's going to be, I ride that road fairly often, and it's nice to see some of it fixed. It'll be really nice when it's all fixed. There was an email, wanted to know about vision, and Jason touched on that for District 4, for each one of our districts. Certainly when I ran 2.5 years ago, I had a vision for District 4, and it pretty much has still remains. But what I've learned is that it's kind of what Councilman Wilson touched on, is that until you get in here and really know what you can do and can't do, sometimes things will change like that. But primarily, y'all, what I do, and I have a city phone. This is my personal phone, and this is my city phone. This is an iPhone. This is a Samsung, so I don't use this very much because I can only work my Samsung. But I've got a lot of pictures in here. Brian Harbison, Building Department, and Heath Williamson, the city engineer, and Mike Hilton from Public Works probably receive emails from me through Ivan Nelson and Jennifer Smith, our city clerks, almost on a daily basis, because I get phone calls about potholes, debris pickup, street signs knocked down, streets needing line, with a traffic line down the middle. That's typically what a city council person does. We're the first layer of government responsibility to the citizens. That's for the whole country. It's council members, mayor, state representatives, state senators, and then so forth. So we're on the front line. And so that's primarily what I do, is respond to calls. I also ride my district every week, and I'm looking for opportunities to serve. And again, I send those pictures to the appropriate departments to try to, to keep my district up and to keep it clean. So that's a lot what I do. The COVID has stopped our meetings. We would have meetings maybe quarterly. We haven't been able to have those, so it's not as easy to communicate as we would like, because not everybody's on social media. I am glad to see Marana Park open, Nakalula Falls Park open. Saw a lot of activity there this weekend. That's in my district, by the way, District 4. So glad that that's open. I hope everybody's enjoying that. Gadsden State Community College also falls into my district. The city's spending, committed between $8 and $10 million to build a sports complex. Saw some comments about that a few weeks ago. That's an ongoing process. They're moving dirt over there. I won't call on Heath, put him on the spot, but there's a lot of dirt being moved over there. Phase 1 is in progress. They're working as weather permits to do what needs to be done. That's going to be a really nice addition to not only Gadsden, but to Etowah County. And that's something that I think is very important as the hub of our county. A lot of the money we spend in the city of Gadsden, people outside the city of Gadsden get to enjoy, such as Marana Park, Nakalula Falls. Nakalula Falls budget's around, I think, almost $900,000, which does not include personnel costs. So it's probably 1.2 million annual budget that we spend, that the city spends at Nakalula Falls to have that wonderful property up there, that beautiful park. That's enjoyed by people in the whole region, not just the city of Gadsden. And there's other places like that, Center for Cultural Arts, Gadsden Museum of Art, Gadsden Public Library. And there's a list of it totals about $6 million annually that the city of Gadsden budgets and spends, that is enjoyed by not just city of Gadsden residents, but also for the whole county, and probably really, we're kind of the metro area hub for a 2 or 3 county area. So we're glad to do that. Obviously, that's been going on for years, and so that's just as a point of explanation. Just wanted to kind of bring that up. Also working on kind of on a negative side, I guess, we have our residential garbage bad debt is approaching $1 million. People don't pay their bills. We have, trying to collect that money is not an easy thing to do, but I've been working on a plan for about a year now to try to capture that, or to stop that from happening. Not ready to really go into details about it now because it's not finished, but just know that that's one of the areas that I'm focused on. We can't incur that kind of bad debt. With the city with the budget of around $50 million, $1 million is a great sum of money. I agree with Councilman Wilson. Just to learn about city government, I've recently passed the courses to get my certified municipal officer's title, which is about a CMO designation, about a 40-50 hour courses that I've taken to learn about city government, the mayor council form of government. And so as a city council member, In regards to the rendering plant and in regards to any industrial prospect, the only responsibility legally we have is to vote on a tax incentive program if and when presented. That's our only responsibility. You know, you can't recruit an industry to your city, like we can't recruit and then vote on the tax abatement. That's illegal. So we sit over here, and it's all designed this way. Every city that's in mayor, council form of government works that way. That's how it's structured, and it's structured that way for a good reason. So I would encourage y'all, Google mayor, council form of government in state of Alabama and see what the rules are, see what we have to live by, see what we are, what we swore an oath to take to do. And I think it'll be pretty eye-opening to see who has responsibilities for what. Do want to thank Mayor Guyton and Frankie Davis in that office. They have worked really, really hard for a long time on this, what's now called the Eastern Connector, you know, the bypass of 759 out here. That was great news of the $2 million engineering being spent to do that work. That is so needed. Just, you know, at 3 o'clock today, get on Meagan Boulevard from this side of the river and try to go to that side, or vice versa, I suppose. It is such a bottleneck, and ambulances have trouble getting, our first responders have trouble getting across that bridge at certain times of the day. So that is such a needed component for so many reasons, for industrial reasons, for tourism, for just ease of life. And so a big thanks to them. They have worked behind the scenes very quietly and continue to do so to make that happen. So just want to offer a thanks to those guys for what they've been doing to do that. And again, just appreciate the effort that everybody's doing. This has been an interesting time to see how democracy works, to learn. Sitting where we sit, it's certainly been a learning experience, and I don't take that lightly. I take a lot of notes mentally and some on paper, so I'm certainly listening, especially to constituents in District 4. That's who I represent up here on this panel, up here on this council. And I get quite a lot of calls and text messages and emails, and I really appreciate their efforts and their wisdom and their concern. Thank you, Madam President.
Councilman Williams.
Thank you, Madam President. The only thing I have today is just to reiterate the commentary regarding the Eastern Connector. You know, again, just want to be sure to offer thanks to our city engineer, Heath Williamson. Heath, raise your hand. You know, he does a lot. He jumped in and hit the ground running. Very experienced municipal engineer, civil engineer, and you know, really proud of some of the work that he's done. He's well respected in Montgomery, which goes a long way in terms of us being able to secure some favor with projects. So once again, we appreciate that, and I'd be remiss if I didn't think there are a lot of people in between Heath and the governor's office, but definitely do want to thank Governor Ivey and ALDOT Director John Cooper for committing the funding. I know it's been said a couple times that construction is not imminent, but you know, this is kind of that ideological point of no return, we believe, in that once you commit that much to engineering design, that is very promising in terms of finishing it. And it's very difficult for politics to unrail it at that point. So again, we appreciate all the hard work that has gone towards that project, and that's going to be very important. Again, for those of us that have missed the history as it relates to that project, the huge benefit is that right now, 431 and what is Meagan Boulevard doesn't have the capacity to handle the traffic volume, and so what our current I-759 bypass is doing is it's dumping more and more traffic into what's already a very crowded thoroughfare. And so this project will relieve some of those capacity issues, which is huge in terms of commercial development. That's very important because, as you know, that stretch of 431 on either side has a lot of our commercial partners, and the cleaner the traffic flow is there, the more readily and easily consumers can get to their storefronts and establishments, and thus positively impacting our city in that regard. So again, thanks to all of those who understood it and supported us, and we look forward to seeing that come to fruition at some point. That's all I have, Madam President.
Councilman Worthy?
Thank you, Madam President. Now, I just want to make a couple announcements. I'm going to reiterate if you would like to get the coronavirus vaccine, you can call the Quality of Life at 256-439-6404 or 256-439-4605 and schedule you an appointment. Because they will be at Roberta Watts Clinic Saturday, March the 13th at 1020 Tuscaloosa Avenue from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and then 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Giving the vaccine shot. So also I would like to say thank you to Heath. We are finally paving Penny Street. I know it was delayed, but they have new water lines and new sewer lines. So we want to say thank you for you and the water department working together, and they're working on paving it as we speak. Hopefully they'll pave. I didn't get a chance to get about it today, but they were preparing it to pave today. So hopefully they're paving it. And thanks to everyone on Penny Street for being patient, and I apologize again for taking so long. But we're getting it done now. It's all in God's timing. So thank you. I also want to thank Craig Scott from the library. I didn't thank him for providing masks and socks when we was doing the holiday meals at Carver. We handed out maybe 300 or 400 pairs of socks and maybe a couple hundred masks like this one, the cloth mask that you can wash and re-wear it. So thanks to him for that, and thanks to the people that's feeding our homeless on the weekends, on Saturday, and also on Sundays at the gazebo there. So we want to say thank you to them for what they're doing and the different people that's helping. So thank you all, and I want to say thank you to the Career Center. The Career Center has a lot more to offer than just the jobs that we're talking about. They can help you also with retraining on if you've lost your job and you want to go into something else. And a GED, they even have a GED program. You work at your own pace. See, a lot of this information now, people, they don't know it. And we have to be more vigilant in getting this information out there, marketing this information so the citizen, John Q. citizens know what we have to offer so they can take advantage of it. But just like this job fair, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So these people have to take the initiative and get motivated and come seek out this information. So that's all I'm going to say about that. There's a lot more I could say, but Madam President, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you.
Mayor, I didn't forget you this time.
That's okay. I'll make it as quick as I can. I did want to comment a little bit on the Eastern Connector, 759. It's been about, I think, 15 to 20 years in the making, and we've been pushing the whole time. It'll bring a lot of commerce. It'll do the traffic. Project will go for Coosa River, 759 intersection, 431, 278. It'll the number of people and elected officials have worked on it for more than 15 years. And I want to thank Governor Kay Ivey and the ALDOT Highway Director Cooper. This is sort of funny, but it's true. He called me when we started working on that. He said, can I change the name of 759? I said, yes, sir, I guess you can. I said, what are you going to name? He said, the Eastern Connector. And I said, I don't care what you name it, just so we get 759 going. And he laughed. He said, if a big pot of money hits in Montgomery, all of them come after that money. So if we name it the Eastern Connector, they'll ignore it. And he was right. So I just want to say that. But also, I'd like to make a comment or two. I've sat by a long time and not said much, and I'm going to be nice. Mr. John Floyd writes all these articles, you know, and they get it in the Gadsden Times all the time. I first met him when he came to town at a dinner, and I talked to him, and he was talking, and I said, I will be glad to answer any questions you got. All you got to do is call me. I've never had a call from him since, ever, about anything, the city government. You know, the city officials, he said, didn't, you know, should have jumped on a plane and gone up there. I think there was 3 trips. The people from Montgomery, economic development, the people here, there was 2 or 3 trips to Akron to talk to Goodyear officials. I also had a one-on-one call with an attorney who called me, and we talked a few minutes, and he was mainly talking about, I think, some of the land. But he asked me what was our plan. I said, what's your plan? We're waiting on you to tell us what your plan is. And, of course, never heard anything else from him either. So, you know, Mr. Floyd, it's like I said, if he wants any information, all he's got to do is come ask for it instead of talking about pie in the sky stuff that he don't know what he's talking about. That's all I got to say.
The last thing, and I think the most important thing, and probably not overlooked, but the most special remarks is yesterday was March the 8th. It was International Women's Day. And women have played a very significant part in this country from recognition since 1911. I would just like to say, because of Holly Aubrey, Joanne Ray, these are women that served on this city council, and I stand on their shoulders. There are people like Alice Presley, some of you may not know, who was a county commissioner. So women have played a major part. Martha Elrod, they played a very important part in city government. They played a very important part in the medical field. In fact, I was researching, there's, if you think about it, you think about the statues. Lady Justice, that's the lady with the scales, blindfolded. Learn that, think about the Statue of Liberty, that's a lady, that's a female. And if you go to Washington, D.C., and you go and they won't let you climb the dome, but on top of the dome is a woman. So women play a significant part in this country, in government, in every particular field. And I just like to let women know, not only those names that are called, but their mothers. There are women who are homemakers. They play a significant part in how we grow up, how we develop. And so I just give a shout out for women. I'm an advocate for women. And so women are very significant. My best statement is, behind every man is a dynamic, smart, and intelligent woman. Amen. I call for a motion to adjourn.
Amen.
Amen.